What's going on, everyone? So today's video we're going to be talking about compost tea. So in today's video I'm going to go over what is compost tea, how to apply it to the garden, and what you're going to need to get it all brewed up. So let's go. So what exactly is compost tea? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a tea that's brewed up using compost that we apply to our plants. Now the difference between applying compost directly to the soil and actually brewing them is that we are actually extracting the nutrients and all the beneficial microbes from the compost. So instead of waiting for our compost to break down in the soil, it'll be a much faster absorption rate to use compost tea. Now disclaimer, there's a ton of ways that you can brew your own compost tea. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is a 5-gallon bucket. Now obviously if you want to make more, you go with a bigger size bucket. You're just going to have to change the compost ratios later on. I have here collected some rainwater. It's not that much since we haven't got that much rain, but I'm gonna start off by adding my rainwater. Now it's best to use filtered water because you know your home water may have chlorine and other additives that can kill those beneficial microbes. So if you do have some rainwater, that'll be the best bet. If not, just go ahead and not worry about it too much. So I have the 5-gallon all filled up. Now this is unfiltered rainwater, so that's why it looks a little dirty. Now next, you're gonna wanna get yourself a tea bag. Now this actually is a cutout burlap sack that my fiance sewed, so it actually makes a good tea bag. Now I picked up a few burlap sacks at a fire station for free, and they normally have them around during the rainy seasons to use for sandbags, but I just picked up some empty ones and used it for this. Now I've also seen online, if you guys don't have access to burlap sacks or you don't want to go through the hassle of having to sew this, is you can actually buy a 5-gallon paint strainer. Goes around your 5-gallon bucket, but it works in the exact same way. And next up we have a basic Aquarium Air Pump. It's meant for up to 100 gallons, so being we're only brewing 5 gallons, this is way more than enough. So the more air you can put into your compost, the better. Now this one didn't actually come with any tubing. It does have 2 outputs there. Also want to make sure that you buy yourself some tubing, and along with the tubing you're going to want to also have some air stones. The whole purpose basically of applying air to the compost tea is to provide oxygen to the microorganisms that are living in the compost that we're extracting. So it's basically to help them breathe and then eventually multiply. So now this is all the equipment that you're going to need to get started. For the ingredients, I'll be taking 2 to 4 cups of compost for my 5-gallon batch here. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, and I don't actually measure it all the time. Now at this point you could start the brew process, but what I'm going to do is add a handful of some kelp meal and a handful of worm castings. Now the beauty about these 2 products is you really can't overdo them. As you can see, the kelp meal has a 1.12 mpk and the worm castings have a 1.2500. So you don't really have to fear burning your plants by adding this. And also with adding kelp meal, this also feed the microorganisms in the compost. Now all I'm gonna do is take a string and tie this up so none of it falls out. And now besides these ingredients, you could also add various granular fertilizers. It's kind of basically up to you and what you kind of want to brew for your plants. So the actual brew process is going to take a full 24 hours. So I'm going to set this in with the air pump and let it go for a full 24 hours. Alright guys, it's been 24 hours and I ended up just covering it basically so that nothing flies in there. But look at that foaming action. Given it a smell, it shouldn't smell like rotten. It should just be like a neutral smell, and I really don't smell anything other than the compost. Now that the tea has been brewed, it's ready to be used. Now you're going to want to use it as soon as you stop the air pump from providing oxygen to those microbes. I've read that you have about a 4-hour window before the microbes start to die after you remove the air, so the sooner you use it the better. Now you can either apply it as a soil drench like I'm going to do, or you can get yourself a backpack sprayer, or any other small sprayer would work as well. Picked up off of Harbor Freight for 30 bucks. It holds 4 gallons and I paid about $30 or so. And if you do decide to pick one of these up or use any other spray bottle, what you're going to want to do is spray during either the early morning or the late afternoon. And that's to avoid the heat of the afternoon sun. I always make sure to squeeze out as much liquid as I can out of the tea bag. Now don't forget though, you can still use that compost that's in the tea bag, either applying it to your plants and or throwing it right back into the compost pile. For our 5-gallon batch of tea, there are 80 cups. So I'll give each of my plants around 3 to 4 cups to drink. You don't have to worry about giving your plants too much, so long as you're not drowning them. And that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it. If you do want to check out any of my other videos, they'll be right here on the side of me. Also, don't forget to click the subscribe and the like button down below. And remember, you won't get a harvest if you don't sow seeds.